Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of Listener's Paradise. Today, we'll be talking about the poem Leisure by W.H. Davis, and I will be explaining the poem to you, the important words, as well as the figures of speech. So, let's get started. First, I will read out the poem for you. What is this life if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare? No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this if, full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. These are the important words in this poem. Please pause the video at this point and jot them down so that it will help you to understand the explanation better. Now I'll begin by explaining the poem to you. In the first stanza, the poet is asking a rhetorical question. That is, what is this life if full of care? So the question is asking what value life holds if it is consumed by worry and busyness. The full of care implies a life overloaded with concerns, responsibilities, and distractions. The poet questions a lifestyle where we are so preoccupied that we can't even pause and simply observe the world around us. So he's saying we have no time to stand and stare. So the act of standing and staring represents mindfulness, taking time to appreciate beauty, nature, and even small details. This line sets the tone: life without presence and reflection, no matter how productive, is empty or incomplete. In the second stanza, the poet draws a contrast between humans and animals. He is saying that no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. So sheep and cows here, they are unburdened by human anxieties. They calmly observe their surroundings and react to it. Davies suggests we have lost this simple natural ability to just stand and understand, take an idea of what the scenario around us is. Standing under the trees and being still in nature is portrayed as a basic pleasure that we ignore. The stanza emphasizes how far we have drifted from a life of awareness. By pointing to animals as examples, he subtly critiques how modern humans, despite intellect and control over time, fail to do something as natural as watch and enjoy the world we live in. In the third stanza, the same theme of missing moments in nature is continued. Even when we walk through forests or wooded areas, we are too distracted to notice the small wonders. What are these small wonders that the poet is talking about? For instance, the squirrels preparing for the seasons. Davies emphasizes how rich and detailed the natural world is, filled with quiet, purposeful activity. But Our fast-paced lives blind us to these everyday miracles. This line is not just about the squirrels. So where he's saying where we have no time to see where the squirrels hide their nuts in grass. It is not only talking about the squirrels. It is a symbolic nature. This line is of symbolic nature of how we miss the rhythms and intricacies of life because we are too focused on our own tasks to truly observe what's happening around us. In the fourth stanza of this beautiful poem, Davies uses a striking metaphor. He compares sunlight, which is sparkling on a stream, to stars in the night sky. Even in broad daylight, when everything is clearly visible, we miss beauty because we are not looking for it. And this suggests our blindness is not due to darkness or difficulty, but due to inattention. So he's saying that no time to see in broad daylight. We don't have the time to see in broad daylight. The streams full of stars. So the reflection of, for instance, the stars of the heaven, yeah, and like skies at night. And the poet points out how even the most obvious forms of beauty are overlooked. It's a gentle yet powerful reminder that wonder is always present, but our mental distractions keep us from experiencing it, even when it is right in front of us. The next stanza is the fifth stanza, and in this stanza, the poet personifies beauty as a woman. He says we are too busy to notice even her glance or how she moves. Beauty here symbolizes everything which is graceful and fleeting in life. It can be art, it can be love, it can be nature, it can be joy at something, a small thing that we do. Yes? And the idea is that beauty is trying to catch our attention, but we don't turn around to look at it or to look at her. Here he is personifying beauty. Watching her feet, how they can dance, it suggests following beauty's movements, being in sync with life's lighter, more joyful side. The poet laments how modern life robs us of that ability to engage deeply with beauty, to let it move us and inspire us. In the next stanza, continuing the personification of beauty, Davies says, we have no time to wait till her mouth can. Whose mouth? Beauty's mouth. Till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. So he's saying we don't even have the time to let a full smile unfold. The eyes are hinting at a smile, but we are gone before it completes. This shows how important and hurried we have become, incapable of pausing long enough to experience even simple, slow-building joys. The word enrich is key here. Life offers depth and richness, but we skim the surface. The poet is pointing to how our rushed pace makes us miss emotional connections, subtle changes, and unfolding beauty, whether it is in nature, people, or fleeting moments of life. In the final stanza, the repetition of the opening line is seen, and this is again serving as a conclusion of the poem. By calling it a poor life, where he's saying, Davies is saying, a poor life, this is full of care. So Davies does not mean financially poor, no, but spiritually and emotionally unfulfilled. A life constantly filled with worry and busyness, with no time for reflection, appreciation, or presence, is lacking something essential. Repeating the final lines, that is, we have no time to stand and care, adds weight and reinforces the message that we must make time to slow down, to observe, and to just be. The poem ends as it began, pleading for a more balanced, mindful life, one where beauty is not missed and where standing and staring is seen as meaningful, not wasteful. Now we will discuss the figures of speech in this poem. And if you go through the lines, the first stanza is, what is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. So that is a rhetorical question which is used to provoke thought, not to get a definitive answer, just to provoke the listener, the reader. And it is also a case for alliteration where the words stand and stare, there is a repetition of the S sound for rhythm and emphasis. In the second stanza, we see the lines, no time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. So here it is a case for alliteration where stand beneath the boughs is a repetition of the B sound. It is also a case for simile where as long as sheep or cows, where there is a comparison being made between human stillness to that of the animals using the word as. In the third stanza, the poet says, no time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. This is a case of imagery where vivid picture of nature, squirrels, woods, grass is being painted or talked about by the poet. It is also a case for alliteration where hide their nuts in grass. So soft H and N sounds mimic gentleness here. The stanza 4 says, no time to see in broad daylight, streams full of stars like skies at night. So it is a case of metaphor because streams full of stars. So the water is reflecting sunlight is compared to the starry skies. It is also a case for simile because you have the line like skies at night. So there is a direct comparison using the word like. It is also a case for imagery because you see a rich visual of sparkling water and the night sky, which is full of stars. The next stanza, that is the fifth stanza, says, no time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. So it is firstly a case for personification where beauty is given human traits such as the ability to have a glance at someone, to throw a glance at someone, or to dance to a rhythm. It is also a case for alliteration where you see feet or how they can dance. There is a soft repetition to suggest grace. It is a case for imagery where it evokes the movement and elegance of beauty who is personified as a person here. The next stanza is, no time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. So it is again a case for personification where we are continuing beauty as a woman who smiles. It is a case for metaphor where this word smiles her eyes began. Eyes are initiating the emotion and the mouth is completing it. And it is a case for enjambment where the sentence flows from one line of the next to the next without pause, mirroring the gradual unfolding of a smile. The next stanza is the seventh stanza, which is the poet saying, a poor life this if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. So it is firstly a case for repetition because you see the repetition of the first stanza to emphasize the message of the poem. It is a case for rhetorical questioning. Again, he is reaffirming as a reflection of the first stanza itself. And it is a case for alliteration in stand and stare. And finally, it is a case for antithesis where he is saying poor life versus full of care. So there is a contrasting richness of experience with emotional poverty. Now the rhyme scheme. The poem follows a simple and regular rhyme scheme where you see it is repeated, the stanzas are repeated as A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, and again a A, the repetition of the first stanza again. So each stanza is a rhyming couplet, two lines that rhyme with each other. For example, care, stare, or bows and cows, or pass and grass. Okay, and the first and the last couplets are the same, which gives the poem a cyclical structure, which reinforces the message of the poem. Thank you for listening. Have a good day ahead.